All right, folks. Good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. If you can hear me, if you could just give me a yes or a thumbs up or something in the chat box, please. All right, great. Well, welcome to EDA 614. I believe this is your last class. I know when I talked to Dr. Goins, he said this is the last class, but from time to time there are a few people that might still have one to go. So I believe most of you, this is the last class. You'll have taken all the coursework. Hopefully, go get your rank change if you're all done. If you haven't taken, uh, yeah, so there was the example Dr. Goins had mentioned that a lot of times it might not necessarily be your last one. So, for regardless if it's your last one or if you still have two left, if I would encourage you, I don't have the info in front of me, but if you're wanting to make sure and get not just a rank change, but get certified, which I hope you do. Hopefully, you'll go take both of the principal exams, the state one and the national one. That way, you can go ahead and get certified to be a school principal. So I'd encourage you to do that. I think toward the end of the course, Dr. Goins acted like he may send some of that information out to all the candidates. That way, they have that on the radar if they haven't taken it already. So as I was saying, welcome to the course. Lord, we've been quite a few courses together, so I know you guys know how to contact me, but I've been trying to get a little better about putting it at the top of each one of our Moodle sites together. My email address. That way, if you need to get a hold of me, remember, yeah, I work in Madison County, and my email address is in global, but if you need to look me up that way, that's fine. But otherwise, please use my Georgetown one as well. I check that quite a few times a day. It's on my phone and all that stuff. So it just kind of depends on how busy the day is. Um, so a couple, I guess, quick things. This will be a short class. It's more or less for tonight. More or less just making sure that everybody is clear what's going to be coming in the next 7.5 weeks. Um, I'll say this class that there's things to do that are important, but there are not as many of them as maybe some of the other classes. So it's kind of like tying up some of the loose ends from the last class and adding a few things to it, basically finishing your practicum, so to speak. Again, if you watch the video or if you met when we met last time, try to view it that 612 and 614 is basically one great big long class. So, we're halfway through the long class and have another 7.5 weeks to go. Technically, this is the second term of the spring semester, the first day of that class. So obviously, you needed to have gotten into Moodle today. There's only one person that hadn't accessed our site today. I know a couple of you who had emailed me were like, hey, listen, Dustin, you usually have us complete some form on the first day of class. I knew you guys knew the drill by now, and I knew how to reach you and all those type of things. So, maybe I'll regret it later, but I didn't have you do that form this time. The biggest thing is that Georgetown wants you to take action actually in the site on the first day. All of you but one have done that already today, and that one person isn't with us right now at the moment. So I'll reach out to him later. But the other thing would be, and some of you gotten emails from me from time to time. If you don't access our class site, not just get into Moodle, but actually get into the site and do something. Every time you log in there, it responds. It tracks that you've been in there. So if you don't take action for 5 to 7 days, the Georgetown administration gets a little worried, so to speak, that you're not taking any action, that you're not being compliant. So basically, past 7 days, you are susceptible to being administratively dropped. So I try to check that every couple of days, but you should be in here at least once a week anyway, at the minimum. I would think more anyway, but try to get in the habit of doing that regularly if you would. The book, the required text for the class is the same one you had in 612. So if you purchased it in 612 like you were supposed to, hopefully you didn't sell it or give it away yet, but it's the same class or the same book, I mean. So that's the only book that's needed for the course. I don't really think I'm going to open the syllabus up because pretty much everything that you're going to need to know is already right here on the page. Obviously, you can open up if you want, but my contact info is on there. All the different areas for points is listed here. I'm going to go through those, and then I'll tell you the probably the next couple weeks some things that you need to be working on. If you'll notice, you'll scroll down the page, or I guess like I'm doing here. Weeks 4 and on, I've not added yet. I'm still making some tweaks on those, but until you have gotten approval for your survey from the principal in your building and given it, turned it out, passed it out to everyone to complete, you wouldn't be able to do any of the other things anyway. So that's why I didn't feel the urgency to have it all up on the first day. So, all right. So basically, the gist of this class is for this school leadership practicum, the 3 hours of it. It's kind of like it's on the screen there. So candidates, that's you all implement their capstone project that you designed in 612, and you're going to end up presenting these results to school staff or your site-based council, whatever you want to call it. You're going to need to do an oral defense and present it basically to the school administration and others when you're all done. So really, it's 5 or 6 things that you end up doing in this class. First, you're going to distribute the survey. If you didn't get any hard feedback from me from 612, that means your survey is good to go. So that means you need to submit that survey. Can you do the paper version, the old-fashioned pass it out and have them filled out? Yes. Or Google Forms or Google Docs. I would probably, if it were me, I would do SurveyMonkey, only because the next thing is that when you're done, it's not going to be anything life-changing that I'm going to expect. Let's see, when it says collection of survey data on there, I'm just going to want to see the results. If you did SurveyMonkey, you're going to be able to download that and have minimal work to do. So again, you're an adult, you do what you want. I'm going to encourage SurveyMonkey only because it will give you all the results. Yes, someone said something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I went back on mute.
Oh.
I didn't know if you'd heard me. This is Jonathan Baldwin.
Yeah.
The only drawback on SurveyMonkey is if you go over 10 questions, it charges you.
That's correct.
So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that and everybody else was.
Yes. It actually, when I did my very good point, sir. When I did my doctorate, obviously I had to complete a survey. Pretty much a longer, more drawn out version. You guys, I'd almost kind of think you're doing a mini thesis. If you can do this, then the other one you'd be all right as well. But very good point. So SurveyMonkey, the free version is only 10. Yeah, Google Forms, Google Sheets, whatever you want to call it. You can do that as well. And any of those, I don't care which one, but the SurveyMonkey one, the free one's only 10 questions. If you do more than 10 questions, you do have to pay for it. I think it's minimal. Frankly, I don't care either way which one you do, but the assignment for the collection of survey data, most of it is just you just telling me the results of your survey, how it comes out, and all that type of stuff. I'll probably require a little bit of a reflection on there and just, hey, what did you anticipate the results saying versus what they actually say, and everything in between type thing. But so that's kind of what when we look at the different assignments there, the survey data on that, the analysis and presentation of data. Basically, once you've gotten all the data, I'm going to require you to use some sort of electronic formatting to come up with 2 or 3 different I'll call it graphics or slides presenting that information that you're likely going to turn around and put in your your presentation to your group anyway. But Dr. Goins, I'm not familiar with it, but he calls a Canva. Before then, I'll get for a little bit familiar with it. He's a big seems to be an advocate of using Canva as something as a electronic format. It sounds like that you can take that information that you've gathered and put it in some sort of graphs or some graphics and stuff like that. So again, 50 points is going to be sharing the data with me, doing a short reflection. The analysis and presentation of data will be, providing a couple slides, graphics, and details of presenting that information. The final PowerPoint and presentation video is exactly how it sounds. You're going to be required to uh, prepare a PowerPoint, present this. You are going to need to record it electronically, and when you're done with the presentation and all that you provide, record it, and somehow submit that to me. I think the best one would be is put it in a format that you can maybe upload to YouTube and send me the video. But I do need to be able to watch it. Um, you know, uh, Dr. Goins said last semester I think there were only 7 students in that class. He was able to make sure and go around all of them. Now he's teaching one session of this, and I'm teaching this one, and we both have 15 or 16 of them. And as you guys know, I have a day job too, so unfortunately, I won't be making a site visit or anything like that. But so that's the gist of that one. And then the last thing will be the executive summary and secondary assessment. Basically, that's going to be it's going to be a short summary. When I say short, a couple page summary that you'll need to provide me when you're all done with everything. And then the secondary assessment will be um, your principal or that designated administrator in your building that you're working with will complete a rubric, and they'll send it off to Georgetown to be uploaded into live text. But that's the simplistic version of everything. The only thing I haven't mentioned there is discussion boards. Those discussion boards are really going to be pretty short and sweet and simple. I believe you can see 2 of them already. For the most part, they're really, hey, provide me an update with where you're at, because obviously this is I'll call it a distance learning type course. I'm not able to, peek in your room and be like, hey, give me an update where you're at. So there'll be the ability for me to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of where everyone's at. They'll be, as long as you do them, they'll be, easy 10 pointers. 2 of them are already up that each week you just, shoot me, 3 to 5 sentences and give me an update of where you're at. So that's the simplistic version. Each of these, as the course unfolds, I will give you a more thorough details on the expectations for each of them. But the early on, I wanted to try and paint the picture of here's what you need to be doing now, and here's what's coming. So what do you need to do now? When I say now, as in early next week at the latest. If it were me and you haven't already, tomorrow I go and I get my head principal's blessing, approval, whatever you want to call it, on submitting your survey. Is there a certain form or anything for that? No. As long as they give their blessing on it, and obviously you tell them in which format you plan to do that. Listen, I'm going to do paper copy or Google Docs, Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, whatever it may be. They're all equally fine. Just make sure that you're transparent on the way you're going to do that. Please assure them that you plan to keep the individual results of people anonymous. Obviously, you're going to be sharing the results as a group when they're all done, but individually, you don't want to break anyone's trust by sharing individual results on that. So please keep that in mind. So if you have not done that already, I would encourage you to do that tomorrow. And then if it were me, I would try Monday to send that out. Now, here's what you're going to find in my experience. You're going to send this survey out, and people are not going to be jumping up and down to go complete it for you. I hope I'm wrong, but in my experience, you're going to have to bug them maybe a little bit. Listen, folks, I really need your help. You guys know most of your surveys are 10 or 12 questions. There were a few of you that were a little longer, but so make sure they know that obviously it's for a class. If you give it its full attention, It might take you 10 minutes at the most. You might need to bug them a little bit, politely, but try to encourage that, because if you just get half a dozen people to respond to it, that's going to be difficult to do. There's not a certain number that I need from you, but yeah, I mean, food's always a great bribery, Kim. Excellent job there. Now, I'm not saying you need to do this, but when I did mine, I did it in the district where I'm at. Of all the people that did it, I did do I took all their names, threw it in a hat, and I gave away. I think I did like 2 Amazon gift cards or iTunes gift cards, something like that. Again, zero expectation for you to do that, but obviously, mine was working toward a doctorate, and I don't remember how many responses they expected me to have to even meet the minimum, but it was enough that I was worried that if I don't pony up something for people to do it, I might not. This might not work. So again, I'm not expecting you to do that, but a way to people's hearts through their stomachs. So pizza or some donuts or something like that, I think would definitely work. But so send that out early next week. Again, when you send that out, you might, if it's electronic, you might, maybe send it to your staff after you've got your administration's blessing on it. Put a deadline on it of, I don't know, Friday, March the such and such. You know, a weekend, maybe send another follow up, friendly reminder, folks, please, blah blah blah. That would be my. That's what I would encourage you to do. It's kind of one of those of walk the line of encouraging without completely driving them insane from hounding them. There's a happy medium in there somewhere. So over the next really, I'd say at least 2 weeks, that's what that's going to be, is getting a blessing from your administration, sending out the survey. That's why I only have the next couple of weeks up there, because weeks 1 and 2, that's probably all you're going to be doing, is, you know, sending it out and waiting. And if you do SurveyMonkey, that's the one I'm familiar with, you're gonna be able to check that every day or two and be like, see how many results that you have gotten so far, to know if you need to vamp up the bugging of people, or hey, I'm on a good track, I don't need to drive people crazy yet. So that's what I would do. Starting in week 3-ish, somewhere give or take in there, it's going to be just a tad different for everybody. Is when I hope to add a little bit to week 3. It won't be due week 3, but I'll start giving you some information on, okay, here's a little bit more info on what I need from you from when you send me your collected survey data and reflection. Here's some information for the expectation for how you plan to complete the graphics. Remember the couple slides showing the information and stuff like that. So I wouldn't look for it next week, but maybe the following week. That sometime in week 2, you'll start to see when you log into Moodle here that some of these weeks are opening up, and I'm starting to add more information. So. Okay, so besides all of that, the expectations for the PowerPoint, I went ahead and put that on there. That way we can kind of begin with the end in mind. The mandatory fund, so to speak, for the PowerPoint template is as followed on there. I'm not going to read each of them to you, but it doesn't need to say introductory slide. I just need to have a slide that talks about who you are, what you do, where you do it, even though those people in the room are going to know that already. Provide a little bit of information about the school data, reiterate, what the statement of your problem is, research question slide, what did you find when you did your review of literature. Obviously some of these are going to take more than one slide. Some of these will be only one slide, but that's the mandatory fund. When you're done with this PowerPoint, obviously you're going to be presenting that to the group you've been working with at the minimum. I mean, I don't know, maybe your principal just says, hey, listen, you're going to do it to the whole faculty. I don't know. Again, that's not up to me. That's up to you and your principal. If that makes you nervous, I would encourage you to do it. We are in a principal class, which means you want to be a principal. Getting in front of people becomes easier the more often that you do it. So I'd encourage you to do that. But also, be thinking about the technology side of it. Of I will need this recorded, so if that means, I don't care if somebody, you get an actual, how do you say it, an actual video camera or an iPad or whatever, but you record it, upload to YouTube, and you can email me a link or something when you're all done. That'd be fine. But it does need to be you presenting. I need to be able to see the actual PowerPoint when you're doing it, and you treat this, fairly formal. Act as though you're a principal. You're presenting, so obviously try and speak with a good voice, a good teacher voice, I'll call it, so you're loud so you can hear. Make good eye contact. Avoid fidgeting, all those type of things. So um, there's most of it, like I said, right there under expectations for and PowerPoint template, and then that capstone presentation. Everything on there is listed that I can think of. So what am I forgetting, folks? You guys have to have questions. So what are they? Go ahead. Observation hours. Good question. There are none. No observation hours. I was actually kind of shocked at that as well. With 612, I emailed Dr. Goins and said, "Hey, what's going on with the observation hours?" And he said there wasn't any. Data notebook. I'm glad you brought that up, Judy. I would have forgot. So Dr. Goins in his class isn't doing it, and remember he's teaching the 614, I believe, as we speak right now as well. I don't know if they're actually meeting tonight, but it starts the same one. He is not requiring it, so I'm not going to either. So he said he did a data notebook last time. Remember, because he with the 7 students in that class, he physically drove to see all of them. He had expectations of what's being in that notebook when he checked, and he actually physically watched the presentation when it was done. And we kind of agreed that we both have 15 or 16. He's retired man, doing his second profession part time or full time or whatever it is, but I have a day job, so we agreed we're not doing that. So the long and short of it is there isn't one. So you have some work, but I feel like, I guess the thing I want to be adamant about, besides you still need to be accessing Moodle regularly, you're going to run into questions throughout this time. Shoot me an email. Um, Good. We're obviously going to have data. Yes. And shoot me emails as that time comes on. But uh, it's kind of one of those things. If you wait a week to 10 days before you submit this survey, you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball here, because you got to can't put the cart before the horse here. You're not going to be able to do any of this stuff until you get that survey out and you get those results. When you get those results, then you can truly start doing all the other things. Developing submitting the results, putting that information into some graphics, preparing your PowerPoint. I mean, I guess you could do, you could start working on the first, half or so of the PowerPoint presentation or more. I mean, I guess you could do that a little bit as you're waiting on those survey results to come back. But and in a 7.5 week course, I think we've all figured out you turn around and it's halfway done. And let's face it, spring break for all of us is probably sometime in here, and I'd imagine that you know either you're going to try and take some off during spring break, or you're going to try and get caught up during spring break. I don't know. You're an adult. That's up to you. But yeah, Matt, the capstone binder, or as Judy called it, what did she call it up here? The data notebook. Same thing. There isn't one. There isn't one. Again, that was something Dr. Goins had students in a previous class do when he made site visits. Yes, talking about the same thing. Sorry for the different lingo there. So folks, I hope you're sitting there thinking, all right, this is doable. Yeah, there's some things that are important to do here, but not overwhelming. My goal here is to not kill you with busy work. I'm not a believer in that, but also wants you to do things that are of value. Um, uh, so I would say, again, I guess to conclude, and then I'll wait behind if anybody has individual questions. So to conclude, then one last time, email address is up there. You know it by now. Um, Under week one here, either late tonight or tomorrow morning, you'll see the go-to meeting information leave, and the link for this this recording of what we're doing right now will be up. Get your principal's blessing on being allowed to submit that survey. Once you get here, she's blessing, send that out. Give them no more than 2 weeks. You're going to need to bug, politely annoy, maybe a little bit to get enough people to complete it. And once you're done with that, by that time, you'll see more information showing up on Moodle so that you have clear expectations, even though you know kind of the gist of it now of what do I need to do when I submit my survey data and reflect on it. The other one worth 50 points of the graphics or the slides or whatever they'll be needed to present your information. You know everything that's in the PowerPoint because it's under expectations and PowerPoint template there, but start getting your ducks in a row for that PowerPoint presentation and the technology behind presenting it, whether that be an iPad, a video camera. When you're done uploading it to YouTube, there'll be a deadline for that toward the end of the course. And then ultimately the very very last thing will be that executive summary and secondary assessment. If I had to do over, probably executive summary should be like 10 or 15 points, and the secondary assessment should be like 5 or 10 points there. They're really separate things. The executive summary is going to be you probably doing a couple page write up on kind of the conclusion of everything, and the secondary assessment will be and I'll provide you the rubric at a later date, but your principal or designee will need to complete a rubric on your behalf on how you did with your PowerPoint and your presentation, and then you'll need to send that completed rubric to Georgetown to upload into LiveText. So there'll be more details to come on that. So folks, that's it. I'll stay behind if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great evening. Thank you. Do you have a requirement for staff participation? For example, half or 3/4 of the staff fill out a survey? Yeah, not really one. I mean, ultimately, I'd love to see a 50% success rate, but I think it really depends on the culture in that building. I would like to think you should easily be able to do that, but obviously, the more the merrier. If I say 50% of staff rate, for some of you that might be 15 people, and some of you that might be you know 75 people. So yeah, getting everyone would be ideal. But if you get really small numbers and you're just having a heck of a time, reach out to me and we'll talk then. Yeah, giving it to students instead of teachers is okay. I don't have yours in front of me, Natalie, but um, most people's is to staff, but it being a student one would be okay. Yes, that's perfectly fine. Um, yeah, Katie. So parents as well. I think Katie, in my experience, that'll be the one that's going to be the most difficult. Only because you see the students and the staff every day, or at least have the ability to. The parents want to be difficult, so you're going to need to really get creative to get some good feedback on that one. So um, I'm sure you'll figure it out, but I don't have an answer for you on that one. I know that even when we did tell survey as a principal, that was seemed to be the one that we, in my experience, got the least participation on. But yes, all of them are
Can
okay.
I
Yeah,
can I ask you a question?
sure.
This is Katie.
Yeah.
Um, the I think I've done. I think I'm confused on what I was supposed to do. I think might be doing too much work.
Okay.
My project was looking at the kids from star reading and star math and then map, because our seventh graders are the only one that take map.
Hmm.
And the kids who weren't reaching benchmark, we were going to do two different types of computer programs after school um, that just work on basic skills. Well, but my paper was on typically you see kids that aren't reaching benchmark. There's three reasons, or I guess three categories. One is they have an IEP.
Hmm.
The other one was you see a lot of kids that are on free and reduced lunch, and then the third was lack of parental involvement.
Okay.
So my survey is going to the parents, because we want to look at how much time do parents help kids with homework? Do they check homework? So I get that part, but I thought I was going to actually even have to show the growth through data, like, okay, they took map test on this day.
Right.
Um,
And I see where you're going with that. And ideally, if we had more time, that would um, been ideal. But you have a limited window. So I guess my thought process, now that you jog my memory of yours, I guess I viewed it as, I agree. There might be three different ways, but through your data, you remember that, again, this isn't like a dissertation. This is a mini one. I kind of viewed it as, although there might be three, you're going to kind of hone in your data on one of those three to see
okay.
what kind of information and data you gather based on the parents that you have access to. Was I Am I incorrect on that part?
No, I
Okay.
really, the parents that I was sending the parents that I'm sending the survey to
Hmm.
are the kids who didn't reach benchmark.
Okay.
Um,
So yours might be.
and
Do you anticipate your being a small sample to even send out to in the first place?
oh no, I mean I probably have about 20 or I don't know if that's small to you, but I have about 20 or 25, 30 maybe kids
Yeah.
or parents who this was going to.
So of that, I would think a goal might be, 15 of them
Okay.
would be good. But no, I think you're fine. It again, somebody who's done a thesis for a doctorate or PhD. I mean, mine was. I mean, I worked on mine for a year and a half. You guys have been working on this for a few months. So you unfortunately you're not going to be changing the world, and no one's expecting you to through your research here. But you've become familiar with a specific I won't say a field, but you found a little niche of something that interests you. Now you're going to, in your case, identified three areas where students fall short of meeting benchmarks. So now you're specifically focusing on one of those three and kind of trying to gather some more information on it. That's kind of, I think, it's perfectly fine. And also I've not done this in a long time, but you're doing something that's maybe a little different than maybe most. So I find that
Okay.
interesting. I don't know.
Well, I went one step further. I'm doing the same survey with the students, but
Okay.
I just where the parent one are, like you said, they have to be statements. So one of the statements is I check my child's homework every night, often, seldom, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing the same survey with those students. We just changed it. My mom and someone looks at my homework every night. So then we're going to compare what the student says to what
Yeah.
their parent says.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that okay to then also to put into my PowerPoint or whatever?
Yes. So I
Okay.
would say, here's my prediction. I predict, and there'll be no way of knowing, but so my prediction will be that the student one will be more accurate. Just because, do you guys still do student voice in your district?
No, I teach in a small Catholic school. We
Okay,
don't do.
okay. So all right, so
I
that
don't know
that
if
might
it's
not be even something. Student voice is a survey that it used to be required for public schools. Now they don't require it anymore, but a lot of districts still do it. And the student data obviously yours is not going to be isn't the same exact survey that they give students, but they found a strong correlation between what in this case what teachers did versus what students thought of them
Okay.
towards student achievement. So basically, for me, when I read it, was kids don't lie. They they there's no sugarcoating. They're going to do it. They're going to be able to share exactly how it is. So no, I think what you're going to be doing is going to be good. You're going to be getting two different perspectives on it. And again, it's the information's all going to be, it's not going to probably help um, an outside person, even myself, much. But I think
Mhm.
you and the constituents in your school, it might offer you some information that might be very telling for your school and your school culture or your school building. Um, no, I think you're onto something. I think what your approach right here is 100% fine.
Okay. Because I just saw Natalie um, type that she started her intervention back in the last class, and I did too, because I really thought that that was going to be. I thought that's the data we were really going to be looking at was,
And it
did the
can,
kids?
it still
Okay.
can, but the thing that I'm once again it can, but I don't know that when this class ends
Okay.
in what mid-April, will
Hmm.
you even have access to do that then? All that information to compare?
Um, I might. I might not see a lot of growth though, because we're using something called Reflex. I got a math grant.
Uh-huh.
Um, we use Reflex, and then that's strictly for math. And then we're also using a new one called MobiMax, and we're doing reading intervention on that one. So
Okay.
we have our kids already on it that um, aren't reaching benchmark, and we actually keep some of them after school now. Like one of my questions was, can your child stay after school? Well, I already know if they're going to be able to or not, because some
Mhm.
of them are already staying after school.
So my answer to that would
So I'm
be if you can, if you're willing to, and you have the ability, if you have all the information to do it, then do it. The only thing that's going to make that difficult, and maybe you have a math background, will be, and I hate to keep saying this, but this class isn't going super deep into like someone's thesis. You're going to be able to tell if they made growth or not, but and this is not my expertise area either, but do you have the expertise to be able to run these different tests to be able to tell if there's a correlation between things and all that?
Do you
Like,
mean like,
hey, I want you to run an ANOVA test on that. I mean, yes. I mean, it's
um,
okay to say no. I mean, I've done it before, but it's been a couple years, and that's what I'm getting at is um, to make it, I guess, statistically significant and all that type of stuff. There's all these statistical tests that would have to be ran and all that. That's what I'm saying. So if you have that information in the next, month and a half, and you want to include that information in your presentation, in your your executive summary write up and all that stuff, man, do it. That would be great. I just
mhm.
don't know that the nature of these two courses that you're going to have the time or all the information to be able to do all that is politely what I'm trying to get at.
Okay. All
But
right. What one is much easier than what I was thinking then. So,
right, yeah. So I hope
okay.
that clears it up
Thank
for you a
you.
little bit. And if it's not, I apologize for not being more clear up front.
No, it's fine. I must have misunderstood it. So, but thank you for helping me.
All right, no problem. And thank you, and have a good evening. Okay. Let's see. We still have Matt and Natalie on. Matt or Natalie, do either one of you have any questions? All right. All right, folks. Well, listen, you guys have a great evening. And again, you know how to reach me if I can be of any assistance to either of you. Have a great evening.